The cradle of one of the world's oldest and most captivating civilizations, ancient Egypt, rests along the majestic Nile River. Spanning over 3 millennia, this remarkable society left an indelible mark on history, shaping the course of art, religion, governance, and human achievement. Nestled between the fertile, black land, and the protective embrace of the red land, ancient Egypt's geographical bounty laid the foundation for a culture that would stand the test of time. In this comprehensive exploration, we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the secrets of the Predynastic period, the grandeur of the pyramids in the Old Kingdom, the tumultuous intermediate periods, and the pinnacle of cultural and political achievement in the New Kingdom. Along the way, we'll encounter pharaohs and deities, decipher hieroglyphs, and marvel at the architectural wonders that still captivate the world. Join us as we unravel the tapestry of ancient Egyptian civilization, examining its geography, cultural evolution, political structures, religious beliefs, and enduring legacy. From the banks of the Nile to the Valley of the Kings, the story of ancient Egypt unfolds, a story that continues to resonate across millennia and captivate the imagination of those who seek to understand the timeless allure of this extraordinary civilization. The stage for ancient Egyptian civilization was set by the remarkable geography and environment that defined the land along the Nile River. This extraordinary setting not only shaped the daily lives of its inhabitants but also played a crucial role in the development and sustainability of one of history's most enduring cultures. The heart of ancient Egypt, the Nile River, was more than just a water source. It was the lifeblood that nourished the civilization. Its annual flooding, known as the inundation, brought fertile silt that enriched the soil along the riverbanks, creating a lush and arable strip of land. The Egyptians, recognizing this bounty, referred to their land as Kemet, meaning the black land, a testament to the dark, nutrient-rich soil that allowed for abundant agricultural yields. The division between the black land and the red land was not merely symbolic but had profound implications for the ancient Egyptians. While the black land signified the fertile areas along the Nile, the red land represented the barren deserts that served as a natural barrier against external threats. This geographic duality influenced not only settlement patterns but also the Egyptians' perception of their world and the challenges it posed. The geographic isolation provided by the deserts fostered a sense of security, allowing the ancient Egyptians to develop a distinctive culture with relative autonomy. The abundance of resources from the Nile facilitated surplus agriculture, enabling specialization in various trades, from farming to craftsmanship. This, in turn, laid the foundation for a complex social structure, with a ruling elite, priests, artisans, and farmers each contributing to the prosperity of the civilization. Beyond sustenance, the Nile River also facilitated trade and transportation. Rich deposits of minerals, such as gold and copper, were extracted from the surrounding deserts and the Red Sea hills. The Egyptians engaged in trade both within the region and with neighboring civilizations, fostering cultural exchange and contributing to their economic prosperity. The Nile's central role in Egyptian life extended beyond the practicalities of agriculture and trade. It held profound religious significance. The annual flooding was seen as a manifestation of divine benevolence, symbolizing the god Hapi's gift of fertility to the land. This connection between the natural environment and religious beliefs would become a recurring theme throughout ancient Egyptian history. The Predynastic Egyptians displayed early ingenuity in adapting to their environment. The use of pottery, a crucial technological advancement, became widespread during this period. Additionally, tools crafted from stone and bone, including sickle blades for harvesting and grinding stones for food processing, reflect the resourcefulness of these early settlers. The social structure of Predynastic Egypt was evolving, laying the foundation for the hierarchical system that would characterize the later dynastic periods. The emergence of chieftains or local leaders indicated a move towards a more organized society. Interactions between these communities likely involved trade, cooperation, and occasional conflict as they vied for resources. Artifacts from the Predynastic period offer glimpses into the symbolic world of early Egyptians. Intricately carved palettes and figurines adorned with animal motifs and abstract designs suggest the development of symbolic language and religious inclinations. These artifacts, although primitive compared to later masterpieces, foreshadow the rich artistic tradition that would flourish in the subsequent dynasties. While religious beliefs during the Predynastic period may not have been as elaborate as those in later eras, evidence suggests a growing awareness of the spiritual realm. Burial practices, including grave goods and simple rituals, hinted a belief in an afterlife or a connection between the living and the deceased, a concept that would become central to Egyptian religious thought. The climax of the Predynastic period came with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, traditionally attributed to King Narmer. The Narmer palette, a significant artifact from this period, depicts the king wearing the crowns of both Upper and Lower Egypt, symbolizing the political union. This event laid the groundwork for the establishment of the first dynasties and the dawn of the Early Dynastic Period. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt is a watershed moment in ancient Egyptian history, traditionally attributed to King Narmer. The Narmer palette, an iconic artifact, depicts the king wearing the crowns of both regions, symbolizing the successful merging of the two lands. This event marked the establishment of the First Dynasty and the beginning of pharaonic rule. The concept of the pharaoh, a ruler considered both a political leader and a divine figure, became central to ancient Egyptian governance during the Early Dynastic period. The pharaoh's authority extended beyond the earthly realm, with the king being seen as the intermediary between the gods and the people. This divine kingship would remain a defining feature of Egyptian political ideology throughout its history. The Early Dynastic period witnessed architectural innovations that laid the groundwork for the grandeur of future structures. The construction of monumental tombs, such as the Step Pyramid at Saqqara commissioned by Pharaoh Djoser, marked a departure from earlier burial practices. These structures showcased not only the Egyptians' growing mastery of engineering but also their evolving beliefs regarding the afterlife. A significant cultural advancement during this period was the development of writing. Hieroglyphs, a system of pictorial symbols, emerged as a means of recording information on various surfaces, including tombs and monuments. While early hieroglyphs were relatively simple, they would evolve into a complex script used for religious texts, monumental inscriptions, and everyday communication. Religious beliefs continued to play a crucial role in early dynastic society. The Egyptians maintained a strong connection to their deities, with rituals and offerings dedicated to ensuring divine favor and protection. Funerary practices became more elaborate, emphasizing the importance of the afterlife. Grave goods, rituals, and inscriptions on tomb walls reflected a belief in an eternal existence beyond death. The establishment of pharaonic rule brought about a more structured social hierarchy. The king held the highest position, followed by a nobility that included officials, priests, and military leaders. Below them were skilled artisans, scribes, and the majority of the population engaged in agriculture. This hierarchical structure laid the foundation for the stratified society that would characterize ancient Egypt. The early dynastic period witnessed increased trade and diplomatic interactions with neighboring regions. The Egyptians engaged in commerce with the Levant and Nubia, importing valuable resources such as timber, metals, and precious stones. These exchanges not only enriched the Egyptian economy but also fostered cultural cross-pollination. The hallmark of the Old Kingdom is undoubtedly the construction of the pyramids, colossal structures that served as monumental tombs for the pharaohs. The Step Pyramid of Djoser, designed by the architect Imhotep, marked the beginning of this architectural phenomenon. Subsequent rulers, including Sneferu and Khufu, built the Bent Pyramid, the Red Pyramid, and the Great Pyramid of Giza, respectively. These structures, showcasing remarkable engineering and organizational skills, remain iconic symbols of ancient Egypt's grandeur. The pharaohs of the Old Kingdom played a pivotal role in shaping the landscape of ancient Egypt. Pharaoh Sneferu, known for his ambitious pyramid-building projects, initiated a period of architectural experimentation. Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid, is often associated with the epitome of pyramid construction. Pharaoh Khafre's pyramid and the Sphinx, along with Menkaura's pyramid, further contributed to the monumental legacy of the Old Kingdom rulers. The Old Kingdom witnessed the establishment of a centralized administrative system that allowed for efficient governance. Local administrators oversaw the collection of taxes, maintenance of public works, and implementation of the pharaoh's decrees. This bureaucratic structure, along with a well-organized military, contributed to the stability and prosperity of the kingdom. Religious beliefs during the Old Kingdom centered around the worship of the sun god Ra. The pharaoh, considered the living manifestation of Ra, derived divine authority from this solar deity. The construction of temples, such as the complex at Heliopolis, underscored the importance of the solar cult in religious practices. Additionally, the pyramid texts, inscriptions within royal pyramids, provided guidance for the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife, emphasizing the significance of the divine kingship in ancient Egyptian culture. The Old Kingdom's social structure was hierarchical, with the pharaoh at the pinnacle, followed by the nobility, priests, and bureaucrats. Skilled artisans and laborers constituted the majority of the population, contributing to monumental construction projects. While the society was stratified, there were opportunities for upward mobility, especially for individuals who demonstrated exceptional skills or loyalty to the ruling elite. The Old Kingdom's decline is attributed to various factors, including economic challenges, environmental changes, and the strain imposed by pyramid construction. The latter part of the Old Kingdom saw a weakening of central authority, leading to the fragmentation of power and the onset of the First Intermediate Period, circa 2181–2055 before the Common Era. This period was marked by regionalism, political instability, and social upheaval. The collapse of the Old Kingdom's centralized authority resulted in a power vacuum, giving rise to regional rulers known as nomarchs. These local leaders, often governors of provinces, asserted their autonomy and control over their respective territories. The fragmentation of political authority during the First Intermediate Period led to a series of small, competing states vying for dominance. The economic challenges faced during this period contributed to the overall instability. The massive construction projects of the Old Kingdom, including the building of pyramids, had strained the economy. The decline in central authority further exacerbated economic difficulties, impacting agriculture, trade, and infrastructure maintenance. The lack of a cohesive government hindered efforts to address these challenges effectively. The breakdown of political and economic structures had a profound impact on society. Social unrest and dissatisfaction among the population increased as resources dwindled and centralized governance faltered. Additionally, the decline in monumental construction projects, such as pyramids and temples, reflected the economic and political turmoil of the time. The scarcity of resources redirected the focus from grand architectural endeavors to more localized and practical concerns. The First Intermediate Period witnessed shifts in cultural and religious practices. The prominence of the solar cult, characteristic of the Old Kingdom, waned, and regional deities gained greater significance. Local nomarchs sponsored cults dedicated to their preferred gods, contributing to a decentralization of religious authority. These changes reflected the broader fragmentation of the Egyptian political landscape. The later part of the First Intermediate Period saw a pivotal figure emerge in the south, Mentuhotep II. Mentuhotep II, the ruler of Thebes, sought to reunify Egypt and restore centralized authority. His military campaigns successfully brought about the end of the First Intermediate Period and marked the beginning of the Middle Kingdom. Mentuhotep II is credited with re-establishing stability, initiating a period of cultural revival, and laying the foundation for the reunified state. While the First Intermediate Period is often regarded as a time of decline and disarray, it set the stage for important transformations in ancient Egyptian history. The emergence of local rulers and the challenges faced during this period prompted a re-evaluation of governance and administrative structures. The reunification led by Mentuhotep II marked a new beginning, and the lessons learned from the turmoil of the First Intermediate Period influenced the subsequent trajectory of ancient Egypt. The Middle Kingdom began with the reunification efforts led by Pharaoh Mentuhotep II, who hailed from Thebes. His military campaigns successfully brought stability and unity to Egypt, marking the end of the First Intermediate Period. Mentuhotep II's reign is often considered the transition point between the chaos of the preceding era and the stability of the Middle Kingdom. One of the hallmarks of the Middle Kingdom was the re-establishment of centralized authority. The pharaohs, based in Thebes, exerted control over the entire Nile Valley. Administrative reforms were implemented to ensure a more efficient and responsive government. The bureaucracy was strengthened, and officials were appointed to oversee various aspects of governance, from tax collection to justice. The Middle Kingdom witnessed economic prosperity and a resurgence of monumental construction projects. Pharaohs such as Amenemhat I and Seneret I invested in infrastructure, including canal systems for irrigation and transportation. These projects enhanced agricultural productivity, fostering economic growth and stability. Culturally, the Middle Kingdom was a period of revival and innovation. Literature flourished, with the composition of literary works such as The Tale of Sunu, and wisdom literature like the Instructions of Amenemhat. Artistic achievements included refined statues and intricate jewelry, reflecting a renewed emphasis on aesthetics and craftsmanship. The Middle Kingdom saw an expansion of Egypt's diplomatic engagements. Pharaohs engaged in trade and diplomatic relations with neighboring regions, including Nubia, the Levant, and Mesopotamia. These interactions not only bolstered Egypt's economy but also contributed to cultural exchange and the assimilation of foreign ideas. While the Middle Kingdom was characterized by periods of relative peace, military campaigns were still conducted, both for defensive and expansionist purposes. The Egyptian military, organized and disciplined, safeguarded the borders and protected against potential threats. Military successes, such as campaigns in Nubia, reinforced the pharaoh's authority and secured valuable resources. The latter part of the Middle Kingdom saw challenges that eventually led to its decline. Internal strife, corruption, and invasions by the Hyksos, a foreign group, marked the onset of the Second Intermediate Period, circa 1650 to 1550 before the Common Era. This era was characterized by foreign rule and a weakening of centralized authority, setting the stage for the subsequent New Kingdom. The Second Intermediate Period witnessed the rise of the Hyksos, a group of foreign invaders who gained control over northern Egypt. The Hyksos, likely originating from the Levant, took advantage of the weakened central authority and seized power. Their rule marked a departure from the traditional pharaonic order and introduced new elements to Egyptian society. The Hyksos rulers established their capital at Avaris in the Nile Delta. During their occupation, they introduced new military technologies, including the horse-drawn chariot, which would later become a crucial element of Egyptian warfare. The Hyksos also left a cultural impact, influencing art, architecture, and military strategies. While the Hyksos controlled the northern part of Egypt, the south, particularly Thebes, remained a stronghold of resistance. The Theban rulers, determined to reclaim their country, engaged in prolonged conflicts against the Hyksos. This period of resistance and conflict laid the groundwork for the eventual expulsion of the foreign occupiers. The Theban prince Ahmose I emerged as a pivotal figure in the liberation of Egypt from Hyksos rule. Ahmose I, with the support of the Theban elite, led successful military campaigns against the Hyksos. The eventual expulsion of the Hyksos marked the end of the Second Intermediate Period and the beginning of the New Kingdom. The Second Intermediate Period had profound cultural and political ramifications for ancient Egypt. The foreign rule of the Hyksos introduced new elements to Egyptian society, challenging traditional norms and prompting a re-evaluation of military strategies. The Theban victory and the expulsion of the Hyksos re-established the pharaonic order, leading to a renewed sense of unity and identity. Following the expulsion of the Hyksos, the New Kingdom emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. The pharaohs of the New Kingdom, such as Thutmose I and Hatshepsut, sought to rebuild and strengthen Egypt. Military campaigns were launched to secure borders and expand influence, marking a reassertion of pharaonic authority. The Second Intermediate Period left a lasting legacy on ancient Egypt. The foreign rule of the Hyksos challenged traditional power structures and prompted innovations in military technology. The Theban resistance and the subsequent reunification of Egypt laid the foundation for the New Kingdom's grandeur and expansion. The New Kingdom commenced with the expulsion of the Hyksos and the reunification of Egypt under Pharaoh Ahmose I. This marked the beginning of a period characterized by renewed stability, territorial expansion, and the reassertion of Egyptian authority. Two exceptional pharaohs, Thutmose III and Amenhotep II, played key roles in expanding Egypt's borders through military conquests. Thutmose III's campaigns in the Levant and Nubia solidified Egypt's dominance, creating an empire that spanned from the Euphrates to the Fourth Cataract. Amenhotep II continued these military successes, asserting Egyptian control over strategic regions and securing tribute from vassal states. Queen Hatshepsut, one of the most iconic figures of the New Kingdom, assumed the role of pharaoh and emphasized trade and diplomacy over military conquest. Under her rule, trade flourished, and Egypt established economic ties with distant lands, including the legendary land of Punt. The Temple of Hatshepsut at Deir el-Bahari stands as a testament to her architectural achievements. Pharaoh Akhenaten, known for his radical religious reforms, sought to elevate the sun god Aten to the supreme deity and initiated a move away from traditional polytheism. His capital city at Amarna reflected these changes, and the artistic style of the period, including the famous Amarna art, deviated from conventional representations. Following Akhenaten's death, Tutankhamun ascended to the throne, and his reign is notable for the restoration of traditional religious practices. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings in the 20th century provided a rare glimpse into the opulence and artistry of the New Kingdom. Pharaoh Ramesses II, often referred to as Ramesses the Great, reigned for over 6 decades and left an indelible mark on ancient Egypt. He embarked on ambitious construction projects, including the construction of temples at Abu Simbel, the Ramesseum, and the grandiose city of Pi-Ramesses. Ramesses II's military campaigns and strategic alliances maintained Egypt's dominance on the international stage. The New Kingdom's decline was marked by internal strife, economic challenges, and invasions by the Sea Peoples. The pharaohs of the late New Kingdom struggled to maintain control, and the era gave way to the Third Intermediate Period, a time of political fragmentation and external threats. The Third Intermediate Period witnessed a decline in central authority, with the pharaohs struggling to maintain control over the increasingly fragmented regions. Internal conflicts among local rulers, power struggles, and economic challenges contributed to the erosion of the once mighty Egyptian state. During this period, the high priesthood of Amun, based in Thebes, gained significant influence. The high priests, often acting as de facto rulers, wielded considerable power and played pivotal roles in the political dynamics of the time. The influence of the priesthood further contributed to the decentralization of authority. The weakening of central authority left Egypt vulnerable to foreign invasions. The Libyans, followed by the Nubians, established control over parts of Egypt. These foreign rulers contributed to the fragmentation of the kingdom and introduced new cultural and political influences. Shoshenq I, a Libyan king, emerged as a prominent figure during the Third Intermediate Period. His reign marked a period of relative stability and attempted reunification, with Shoshenq I founding the 22nd dynasty. Despite his efforts, Egypt remained politically divided, and the power struggles persisted. In addition to Libyan and Nubian rule, Egypt experienced invasions from the powerful Assyrian and Persian empires. The Assyrians, led by Ashurbanipal, exerted control over parts of Egypt, followed by the Persians under Cambyses II. These invasions further weakened Egypt's autonomy and established foreign dominance. The 26th dynasty, also known as the Sate dynasty, emerged as a brief period of reunification under Psamtik I. This dynasty managed to reclaim a degree of stability, but internal conflicts and external pressures persisted. The Sate period, characterized by economic revival and cultural achievements, was a fleeting moment of respite in the midst of ongoing challenges. The Third Intermediate Period gradually transitioned into the Late Period as Egypt experienced successive waves of foreign influence. The arrival of Alexander the Great and the Hellenistic era marked a new chapter in Egyptian history, leading to the establishment of the Ptolemaic kingdom. The Late Period began with the conquest of Egypt by the Persians, led by Cambyses II. Persian rule was characterized by centralized administration and attempts to integrate Egyptian traditions with Persian governance. The 27th dynasty, notably under Darius I and Xerxes I, sought to maintain stability while preserving elements of Egyptian culture. The conquest of Alexander the Great in 332 before the Common Era marked the beginning of the Ptolemaic kingdom. Under the Ptolemies, Egypt experienced a period of Hellenistic influence, with Greek rulers attempting to merge their culture with that of ancient Egypt. The most famous ruler of this period was Cleopatra VII, whose relationships with Roman leaders, including Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, are legendary. The Ptolemaic kingdom eventually succumbed to Roman expansion under Julius Caesar and Augustus, Octavian. The famous Battle of Actium in 31 before the Common Era, where Cleopatra and Mark Antony faced Octavian's forces, marked the end of the Ptolemaic rule. Cleopatra's death, followed by the annexation of Egypt as a Roman province in 30 before the Common Era, signaled the beginning of the Greco-Roman period. The Greco-Roman period brought about a fusion of Egyptian and Hellenistic cultures. Temples were built in a blend of Egyptian and Greek architectural styles, and deities from both traditions were worshipped. The creation of the Serapeum, a syncretic temple dedicated to the god Serapis, exemplifies this cultural amalgamation. While the Greco-Roman period saw continued urbanization and economic activity, it also witnessed the decline of traditional Egyptian institutions. Roman emperors, including Augustus and his successors, ruled Egypt as part of the Roman Empire. The decline of the traditional pharaonic order marked the end of an era for ancient Egypt. Despite foreign rule and cultural amalgamation, traditional Egyptian hieroglyphic writing persisted well into the Greco-Roman period. The last known hieroglyphic inscription was carved in the Temple of Philae in 394 Common Era, symbolizing the end of an ancient script that had endured for millennia. The transition from hieroglyphs to the Coptic script reflected the evolving linguistic landscape of Egypt. The Greco-Roman period, while marking the political decline of ancient Egypt, left an enduring legacy. The knowledge preserved in the temples and libraries, including the Library of Alexandria, influenced later civilizations. Egyptian art, science, and religious ideas continued to resonate in the broader Mediterranean world, contributing to the cultural tapestry of the region. The pyramids of Egypt, particularly those of the Giza Plateau, are iconic symbols of ancient Egyptian ingenuity and architectural prowess. Constructed as monumental tombs for pharaohs, these structures demonstrate advanced engineering techniques that have captivated the world for millennia. The precision with which the pyramids were built remains a testament to the Egyptians' profound understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Temples, such as Karnak and Luxor, showcase the grandeur of ancient Egyptian architecture. These temples, dedicated to various deities, feature colossal statues, intricate reliefs, and hypostyle halls. The enduring appeal of Egyptian architecture can be seen in the continued fascination with these structures, drawing millions of visitors each year. The hieroglyphic script, with its intricate symbols and pictorial representations, is one of the most distinctive features of ancient Egyptian culture. Used for religious texts, monumental inscriptions, and everyday communication, hieroglyphs provided a means of recording the Egyptians' thoughts, beliefs, and historical events. Ancient Egyptian literature, preserved on papyrus scrolls, offers insights into their cultural values and worldview. Works such as The Tale of Sinu and the Wisdom literature, including the instructions of Ptahhotep, provide glimpses into the ethical principles and philosophical ideas that guided Egyptian society. Ancient Egyptians made significant contributions to mathematics, particularly in the areas of geometry and arithmetic. The construction of pyramids required advanced mathematical knowledge, including the calculation of angles and proportions. The Rhind mathematical papyrus, dating to around 1650 before the Common Era, contains mathematical problems and solutions, highlighting the Egyptians' practical understanding of mathematics. Ancient Egyptian medicine was characterized by a holistic approach that combined practical knowledge with religious beliefs. Medical texts, such as the Edwin Smith Papyrus and the Ebers Papyrus, detail various medical conditions, treatments, and surgical procedures. The Egyptians recognized the importance of sanitation, cleanliness, and herbal remedies, laying the groundwork for future developments in medical science. The religious beliefs of ancient Egypt were deeply intertwined with daily life, governance, and funerary practices. The concept of an afterlife, where the deceased underwent a judgment of their deeds, influenced burial rituals and the construction of elaborate tombs. The pantheon of gods and goddesses, each associated with specific attributes and domains, reflected the Egyptians' multifaceted understanding of the divine. Art and symbolism were integral to ancient Egyptian culture. Hieroglyphs, symbolic representations of objects and ideas, adorned tombs, temples, and everyday objects. Symbolism extended to art, where representations of pharaohs, deities, and animals conveyed deeper meanings. The use of symbolism in ancient Egyptian art laid the groundwork for later artistic traditions. The legacy of ancient Egypt extends far beyond the borders of the Nile Valley. Its cultural and intellectual achievements have left an indelible mark on subsequent civilizations, from the Hellenistic world to the Roman Empire and beyond. The decipherment of hieroglyphs in the 19th century sparked renewed interest in Egyptology, leading to ongoing archaeological discoveries and a deeper understanding of this ancient civilization. The story of ancient Egypt is a captivating narrative that spans over 3 millennia, from the Predynastic periods to the Greco-Roman era. It is a tale of a civilization flourishing along the fertile banks of the Nile, leaving an enduring legacy that reverberates through the annals of human history. Ancient Egypt, with its grandeur and mysteries, invites us to delve deeper into its storied past, where each archaeological discovery unravels a bit more of the enigma. It challenges us to appreciate the resilience, creativity, and intellectual achievements of a people whose legacy echoes through the corridors of time.